Team of scientists and data analysts at Get Facted exposed the premeditated Tigray genocide cyber warfare against Ethiopia. And Raila Odinga announces legal action. Good morning, you're watching Addis News Hour. I'm Zoltan Desalegn here with the news. Thank you for joining us. Do stay tuned. Brazilian ambassador to Ethiopia says Brazil is committed to enhancing relations with Ethiopia in both bilateral and multilateral partnerships. Talking to ETV, Eduardo Pedroso also highlighted that Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative is laudable in preserving and expanding the quality of the environment. Kasanjani reports.
In an exclusive interview with BBC, Brazil's ambassador to Ethiopia, Luiz Eduardo said Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative is laudable in preserving and boosting the quality of the environment and overwhelming the ill effects of climate change. He pointed out that tree planting is one of the priority programs of the Brazilian government. Ambassador Eduardo also underscored that his embassy has been taking part in Ethiopia's Green Legacy endeavor every year since its conception in 2019.
My country is always in favor of positive actions towards maintaining the green cover of the country, or efforts such as the one that has been undertaken in Ethiopia since 2019, right? Which is trying to recover the natural greenery that was in the country. As individual, initiatives that we did have. We did in 2019. I did participate both in the botanical garden and at the residence, the former residence of the embassy. We did plant trees, etc. This year, in 2020, I also took part in a ceremony in the botanical garden, and this year we did something in the garden of the residence. The garden of the residence, the current residence, it's already full of trees. We cannot overdo it, because overdoing it, it's also not the best, let's say, initiative. As at the end you end up overcrowding it, and then you end up having to cut those trees. So we are doing on a very rational way. And I recall that this year I was invited to an embassy, to another foreign embassy here, and I planted as well a plant there, a cypress tree, I think. It was at 2 months ago.
Brazil is keen to cement ties with Ethiopia in the fields of agriculture, forestry, commerce and politics.
Well, we have excellent bilateral ties. For instance, last year we did celebrate 70 years of bilateral relations, and it was a year that we even had political consultations between, our foreign ministry and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here of Ethiopia. And we do cooperate in some fields of technical cooperation, let's say, in the fields of agriculture, forestry. For instance, last year also, in the context of those 70 years of bilateral ties, we did open a cultural space here in order to make through culture, we believe that one people can understand better the other. Apart, from being 12,000 kilometers away, one country from the other, through culture, we believe that we can understand us both peoples much better. And in our specific case, we did open a cultural space last year. We've already organized 3 or 4 specific exhibitions or cinema showings, etc. And definitely we believe there's an enormous field still to be explored between both countries, as there are so many fields, both in commercial and political, that should be let's say, upgraded in the coming years. I believe that we definitely have an enormous field to still progress in the future.
Citing the demand to bolster the relationships between the two countries through multiple engagements, the ambassador lauded the Ethiopian Airlines for Air's outstanding service with Air's 5 to 6 weekly flights to Brazil, ought to bear the lion's share.
In those bilateral relations, we also have to mention that Ethiopian Airlines is a cornerstone in approaching the two countries. Nowadays, they have the company has 5 weekly flights, and they expect to have by the end of the year a daily flight. We never had a daily flight. The maximum we managed to have it was 6 flights a week just before the pandemic. So definitely the prospect of having the daily flight is something very positive, and it is something that will definitely enhance the possibilities of commercial ties between the two countries, etc., and the dialogue of the peoples as well.
Ethiopia and Brazil celebrated their 70 years of bilateral relations last year.
Agents of the terrorist TPLF launched attacks on the Eritrean Community Center in Germany. Head of Information and Communication Department with the Eritrean Embassy in England and Ireland, Yared Zagai, indicated in his latest social media post that paid agents of the desperate group attacked the Eritrean Community Center in Germany and targeted innocent, hard-working staff. The video footage he shared on his social media account showed the agents throwing stones and swearing meant to humiliate the Eritreans. Tesfaye and his colleagues said the attack is a demonstration of the damage done to the TPLF's psyche now that its propaganda has fallen on deaf ears. In spite of the fact that the TPLF inflicted untold miseries while in Afar and Amhara, not to mention its slaughter of innocent Amhara at Maikadra in November 2020, its cohorts are still busy crying foul over what is concocted to be Tigray genocide. The Digital Wayane, as they are known, are TPLF's social media disciples doing all the horrendous work to defame Ethiopia with the so-called Tigray genocide. A team of scientists and data analysts at GetFact.et investigated social media data to find the origin and trends of the hashtag that popularized the Tigray genocide narrative worldwide, which has been playing a key part in the international community's response to Ethiopia, including U.S. foreign policy. Tigusur Nisa has compiled the following reportage. Take a look.
Social media platforms are used by 1 in 3 people in the world and more than 2/3 of all internet users. Social media has changed the world. The rapid and vast adoption of these technologies are changing how we find partners, how we access information from the news, and how we organize to demand any sort of change.
And while technology continues to grow at a rapid pace, we're left still trying to figure out how it actually impacts us, especially when we're teaching algorithms to predict and modulate our behavior. I don't think that anyone's denying that social media, as well as instant communication, is extremely addictive, and its addiction falls right within the same symptoms as substance abuse. But what we don't quite know yet is how this addiction over time changes not only our behaviors through hacking our positive reinforcement centers of the brain, but how over time it changes our perception of reality itself.
Ethiopia in this new age of social media was fighting against both cyber and physical warfare, specifically the premeditated Tigray genocide wrongful or reasons the horrendous narrative took over all the international media houses. A team of scientists and data analysts at GetFact.et investigated social media data to find the origin and trends of the hashtag that polarized the Tigray genocide narrative worldwide. which has been playing a key part in the international community's response to Ethiopia, including US foreign policy. The data that gets revealed by GetFact.et, a piece of shocking information, indicates that non-military actors outside Ethiopia were coordinating #Tigray Genocide cyber campaign, which is linked to the pre-planned military attack against the defense forces by the TPLF military command. According to the findings, on the night of November 3rd and 4th, 2020, 17 accounts were created. The first #Tigray Genocide tweet began on Tuesday at 1946 from one of these accounts, which is considered the genesis of the hashtags. This shows that #Tigray Genocide was launched before and during the attack on thousands of Ethiopian National Defense Forces ENDF stationed in Tigray, many of whom were massacred by the TPLF while sleeping. It was suggested that these factual reasons raise important alarming bells for those genuinely concerned with preventing genocides and conflicts. The intentional, premeditated, and well-coordinated use of these accounts to propagate an unconfirmed narrative of genocide should also be a call to action for international lawmakers and policymakers seeking to curb the misuse of the media to create conditions that advance narratives of fear and hatred, which escalates conflicts to ultimately cause the deaths and dislocation of millions based on falsehood.
Mr. President.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee.
ጊዜ ይለዋወጣል እኛ ግን ጸንተን እንቆማለን ሀገር ማለት እኛ ነን
You're watching Addis News Hour.
Stories that happened regarding Ethiopia over the past 24 hours.
Okay, there have been just a handful of stories, but for the time being, I've just chosen two of them, which are for.
Most trending issues that have been making headlines in the past couple of days.
Yeah, I have assessed the media and I have seen tweets of the Prime Minister.
International Water Cooperation chairperson with the UNESCO says political will is what is needed if the Nile Basin countries are to mutually benefit from the river. All riparian countries, he pointed out, have been missing the concept of what cooperation means. The chair made the remark during his stay with the Ethiopian News Agency, where he also pointed out that Ethiopia is storing the Nile waters not to take it away from others, but for the dam's operation. Take a look.
International Water Cooperation chairperson with the UNESCO, Ashok Swan, said the Nile Basin countries need to maximize their cooperation for unequitable and mutual benefit from the world's longest river. Talking to the Ethiopian news agency, Swan added, considering the larger benefit among the countries will be good because if countries come together and cooperate, the maximum benefit that can be gained.
The building of Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the god itself, is a huge achievement for Ethiopia as a country which has been struggling with resources, with food security for a long period of time, and water and energy insecurity for a long period of time. Building this massive project, the Africa's most expensive development project on its own, and that's on its own is something which needs to be celebrated at.
Cooperation among the basin countries will help them to get larger benefit to the basin rather than unilaterally developing these precious water resources in the basin. Sudan can, for instance, be protected from the continent's flooding, which has been increasing in recent years, the chairperson underlined.
The cooperation among the basin countries will get the larger benefits to the basin or to the country it themselves also, rather than going unilateral development of these precious water resources in the river basin. It is important to work for cooperation. It is important the three basin countries find an agreement that how they can work towards a joint development of the water resources. And I think that is extremely important for not only the present use or the present water use by the GERD, because GERD is also a hydropower project. The water is not going out of the system anyway. The water is in the system.
He explained that it is good to have more water reservoir than less in the upstream country, as it can really continue to provide that water for the long period of time in the dry season. Swain underlined that Ethiopia is storing the water for energy or for the dam operation and not to take it away from the system. The accomplishment of the third filling of GERD is hence a huge achievement for Ethiopia, for a country which has been struggling with resources, food security, water and energy for a long period of time, the professor stated. Building this massive project, Africa's most expensive development project on its own, is worthy of celebration. The chairperson pointed out there is enough water in the Aswan Dam to take care of Egypt, and there will be enough water in the GERD to take care of the energy needs to Ethiopia.
The United Kingdom has announced a £6 million British aid, humanitarian aid to Ethiopia. According to British Embassy in Addis Ababa, the fund will provide vital assistance to underfunded emergencies in the country. People affected by drought and conflict in several parts of the country are major recipients of the support provided by the UK government. The UK has announced a total of £36 million in UK humanitarian funding to help people in Ukraine, East Africa, and Syria. Ethiopians in North America vowed to continue support the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam's construction until its completion. During their meeting with Ethiopia's ambassador to the United States, Seleshi Bekele, the Ethiopians also expressed their joy over the successful completion of the third round of filling of the dam. Jonas van Town has the details.
Ethiopians in Northern America gathered to express joy over the successful completion of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam's third round reservoir filling, embracing the widely known motto, "We will complete the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam just as we have launched it." Their colleagues were expressed physically as well as during a webinar meeting with the ambassador himself, a loud advocate of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam's cause. Ambassador Bekele congratulated the members of the diaspora community who have been supporting the dam in a number of ways.
The Renaissance Dam is a monumental and existential project to snap Ethiopians out of poverty. I would like to express my gratitude to the members of the Ethiopian diaspora and friends of Ethiopia living abroad who have supported this colossal dam with money, knowledge, expertise, energy, diplomacy, and whatever other means until it reached its current splendid progress.
The ambassador also urges the diaspora community to continue the work it has started in terms of public diplomacy and advocacy. Taye Asqaselase, who is known for explaining Ethiopia's truth to the world leaders in the Security Council, said that the benefits of the Renaissance Dam go beyond power generation and actually help show Ethiopia's identity to the world.
I would like to express my deepest gratitude to the Ethiopians who have given their money and energy since the dam's inception.
Participants told ETV that they will intensify support for the dam until its completion.
I would like Ethiopians in all parts of the world to continue their support for the dam. I will press ahead with my unreserved support until its successful completion.
A fundraising program for the dam was held on that day. GERD is expected to be Africa's biggest dam upon completion.
Ashenda, also known as Ashendiye, Shade and Solel, is a cultural celebration in the northern part of Ethiopia, especially in Amhara and Tigray states. The festival is uniquely celebrated by young girls, usually adorned with unique dress, jewelry and hairstyles. It's the annual event which takes place between August and September. These participants are engaged on different fun activities including dancing, drumming and socialization. In the following piece, Jerusalem Betzaha takes us through the elaborate celebration. Take a look.
Ashenda, Shade, Ashendiye and Solel are the biggest and unique religious and cultural festivals in Tigray and Amhara states, all exclusively reserved for young girls. Particularly, the day is the most colorfully celebrated in Sakota, Mekele and Lalibela. Preparations start in earnest well ahead of time.
Ghana, so من قال اخترفوا كدان سفي إذا ما جايزات بمولون عداقة خيرنا مالتيو لك عب درو عشان دا على 10 شوي كان خلته معانت مسكريم جوجرنا نقولن.
The week of the festivity is a highly popular and beloved by women. It's have physical, artistic and aesthetic expressions. The girls and young women who the festival is for adorn themselves in dress called tilf, which is a cotton dress ornamented on the front with amazing embroidery from the neck to toe. They also wear their hair in the braided styles that have been developed for ages and ornament themselves with array of beautiful jewelry and Ashenda grass, which is tall green grass estimated to have anywhere between 80 up to 90 centimeters minimum height. The festival marks the end of a 2-week-long fasting period known as Filseta, where the faithful in the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church gather to honor the Virgin Mary.
كمي غيرو تسب أنصباريقو ስለዚህ አፍተናይ ባህሊ ከናተኸለና ከመይልናይና ዳኛታት ኮይና እንመሚ ተንደቀንስቲዮ እንታየን ገይረ ካላዕሊ ስጋታት አብድማምፀን እንታየን ኢላ ገሊጾን ኦደንናይ ከባቢየ ብደቡብ እንተኸይትካ ሕጂ ፍልይ ዝበለ ይዘለዋል ደ ከባቢ ተንቤን ተኸይትካ ፍልይ ይብል ካብተኸስተ أما قال أنت مسيخة فليو جيت فلاليتي نعقبينا نحزينا نزر إنا نقم كم ينتقنينا نزلوا أبزلهم زلنا يو هيدروجين قال له وين حكي زنقل قال لي أمكم يتعد نقر تريل أي سايتبل أي ناتنا يخذ بحال تدري يكونن توفيت سلازي بلنايو توفيت ناي قدميمو كوم تخوينو بقى زمناوي سلازي زمناو نخستايل بلي كمي ينتاين غيرن لبيستيك غيرن دو لبيستيك دي وي كولي غيص اميص سالناي غيص اميص ناي قدمنا يبوتاتنا لناي تشتو غلونال سوده تطقينا تጫማ እንታይ ይግረን ጥበባት እንታይ የናው غيرن ريخ مندو او እንታይ እዚ ንሕና እዚ ሴቲንግ ንብሎ በእንግሊዝ አለው ኣብዚ ሓደ ከምዚ ድራማ እንዲዩ ድራማ እዩ ትብኡ ዝገብርኦ ነገራት ኩሉ ካብልባሳተን ጀሚርካ ኣብ ዝዋስኦ ነገራት ኩሉ ንጥሚትና ድሓር ጥምር ከብላ ስለ ዝኾንከ
On this move, this year's Shade Festival is celebrated in the town of Sakota with the presence of Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister Demeke Mekonnen and other regional government officials.
I think it's beautiful the way the girls, like the hairstyles and the way they dance. This is the first thing that I saw.
There's so many designs with the hair and the beauty things in the hair, and their clothes looking at many different colors. Very natural styles. That's the first time to see it and very interesting.
For the East African country Ethiopia, as it is endowed with tremendous religious, historical, cultural and natural heritage, the Ashenda, Shade, Ashendiye and Solil cultural and religious festival is becoming additional flavor to increase the tourist flows in the country.
Ethiopia is building an incredible mega project that represents its ancient civilization and culture in Addis Ababa and across the nation. A cradle of mankind and civilization, Ethiopia prides itself with a sprawling capital. One of those projects is an art and science museum. Goshu Meliso has the following account.
The magnificent ring-shaped building and dome in the center of Addis Ababa is the Museum of Art and Science. This beautiful piece of architecture stretches across 7 hectares. Its circular shape symbolizes perpetual development, human wisdom, and is testament to Ethiopia's dedication to the future of technology. The Museum of Art and Science is so incredible. Some 80% of the land on which the two massive buildings are being erected is still considered green space with over 4,000 indigenous tree planters and colorful flowers. The museum has parking areas and walkways harmoniously connecting it with the other newly constructed parks around it. The garden will have comfortable sitting areas, art and entertainment spaces where visitors can wind down and truly enjoy the atmosphere. The larger building sits on 15,474 square meters of land and has a total diameter of 132 meters. It is powered with green energy from hydropower dams and its rooftop solar farm, while also utilizing natural ventilation system and optimized natural light. Inside, it has nearly 14,000 square meters of permanent and temporary exhibition spaces that are fully soundproofed. This will give visitors a sense of calmness and allow them fully immerse themselves in the display in peace. It will be a place where the present and future converge in a full 360 immersive and interactive experience that will take one and all on a journey through the art of science. The museum incorporates some of humanity's greatest challenges, from nutrition to breakthrough in medicine, witness the transformation from traditional herbal medicine, new frontiers in personalized medicine. The newly built museum connects technology and human progress.
The Ethiopia Shandong Investment, Trade, Culture and Tourism Promotion Forum was held in Binjiao City. Tashome Toga, Ethiopia's ambassador to China, Zhao Zhuan, Chinese ambassador to Ethiopia, Temesgen Talahun, Deputy Commissioner of the Ethiopian Investment Commission, Li Yongsen, Deputy Director General of Shandong Provincial Foreign Affairs Office, and Kadir Johar, Mayor of Direydawa City in Ethiopia, all spoke at the forum. During the ceremony, Ambassador Toga stated that Ethiopia and China have friendly relations and a long-standing friendship which has evolved into a strategic partnership. Chinese ambassador to Ethiopia Zhao Zhuan, for his part, pointed out that Ethiopia is a country that plays a great role in the Horn of Africa, in the continent of Africa, and in the world. In the forum, Direydawa City and with Binjiao City, and Doreda University with Binjai University established a partnership and signed a memorandum of understanding. The defeated Kenyan candidate Raila Odinga says he is going to contest the results in front of the Supreme Court. The five-time presidential candidate called the results which handed the victory to Deputy President William Ruto as a joke. Shagawi Mato has more from Africa News.
A week after being declared second in the presidential race, Raila Odinga says he is going to seek legal action at the Supreme Court. The five-time presidential candidate called the results which handed the victory to Deputy President William Ruto a joke. On Monday, August 15, the President of the Electoral Commission announced 50.49% of the voters to Ruto and 48.85% to his main opponent Odinga. The same day, 4 of the 7 commissioners blamed Chairman Wafula Chebukati for his opaque management and lack of consultation. For the last 20 years, all Kenyan elections have been through disputes, leading sometimes to violent protests. This time round, any petition had to be submitted to the Supreme Court by the 22nd of August. The highest court has then 2 weeks to make a decision, which could lead a new election within 60 days.
You're watching Addis News Hour. Let's take a recap of the top stories once again. Team of scientists and data analysts at GetFact ET exposed the premeditated Tigray genocide cyber war against Ethiopia. And Raila Odinga announces legal action. Thank you all for watching Addis News Hour. I'm Zoltan Desalegn. I wish you all a very good day.